I've always liked the quote, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Now that is not you, which is why we are highlighting today the Lion's Guidebook and what that means to help improve your overall wealth plan and to make sure that you have a plan in place so that you can be improving your probability of success between now and in the future. There are many different elements that go into the Lion's Guidebook, but we always want to start with you. You see, we want to start with what is important to you, where you're at today with your wealth plan, and where you want to go in the future. Now, in doing that, in starting with you, we get to understand what your dreams, your desires are, and the ways that you want to be working with your wealth. And that is the makings of a good, solid foundation. The very next thing that we look at then is where we are at with the economy and the economic cycle. Now, to do that, we have many different data points that we update on a regular basis, sometimes even as much as daily. Now, this is the driver of the economy, all the different data points that come into the economy and where we are headed with the economy. So I call this the lead stages. Now, there's leads 1 through 4, and the lead is the Lion's Wealth economic activity and development stages. Now, this shows us where we're at today with the economy, and then we can actually project where we are going. Lead 1 is very good. This is where we have a lot of growth happening in the economy with very little inflation. A very good place to grow our economy. The next phase then is lead 2, and this is where we have growth happening but also a little bit of inflation. Now, this is where economies go to flourish. So it's another great way that economies can actually do very well. But then we start to dive into lead 3, and that's where we have a stagnant economy. So either a slowing economy or one that is not growing, and we have high inflation. That's not necessarily a great place to be. But then we have the worst of the worst, lead 4, where we have a slowing of the economy and a slowing of inflation due to demand. So when we talk about what the investments and where we are going, we want to make sure the stages we're in and where we are going so we can match the investments to what's going to be working today and what's going to be the best risk level for what you want with your overall wealth. With our advanced planning, the first thing that we take a look at is wealth enhancement. Now, this is where we really take a look at all the different ways that we can be growing your wealth correctly. Now, this also comes back down to the investment management as well, and how we are going to help select the investments that are going to go into your overall wealth plan. Now, with respect to wealth enhancement, it comes back down to some tax planning that we do with last year's taxes and projecting where you're going to be at this year. Then we take a look at the income that you have coming in, Social Security. We take a look at debt loads, like your mortgages as well. And then we start doing planning surrounding that. Now, the last aspect that we take a look at here is your tax diversification. Now, this is where not only are we looking at the different investments and the taxability of those investments, but we also look at the different types of accounts and different ways that you have your overall wealth plan as well. So we take a look at ones that are going to be taxable this year. We are going to look at ones that are tax deferred, and we will look at ones that are tax free with respect to growth and how we're working with the accounts. Now, all of that is to come to say that when we take a look at this correctly and do the correct planning, we want to have some elements in each of those buckets. And if done correctly, they can actually help improve your overall wealth plan, and that's what we call wealth enhancement. Hey, it's Nathan Krampe, and I create these videos because you are likely very ambitious when it comes to your overall wealth plan. Now, today we're highlighting the Lion's Guidebook and how we can use the different elements of the guidebook to help improve your wealth plan and set you on that course correctly. Now, there are many other people like you, so do me a favor. Like this video so that they can help find it as well. And subscribe to this channel so that you can be kept up to date with different tools, tricks, and tips on how you can be improving your overall wealth. Now, once we know the structures of your overall plan, then we can start to pick the investments that go into them. So whether we need to have some bonds in your portfolio, whether we need to have stocks in your portfolio, or we have many different other elements, whether it's commodities, gold, annuities, life insurance, real estate. You see, the list goes on and is endless with respect to the possibilities that are out there. But that's where we come back down to those lead stages, where we're at today and where we're projecting to be going with the economy. That helps determine and drive some of the different changes that would occur in your overall wealth plan. And that alone is going to be very important to make sure that we can be growing the wealth correctly, but also avoiding pain as we foresee things happening. The next element comes to wealth transfer. And at the root, wealth transfer is just making sure that the money you have and the wealth that you've accumulated over the years goes to the intended people and organizations at the intended time with the least amount of tax impact. Now, if done correctly, we can do all of those things with respect to wealth transfer. We can make sure that you have the ability to transfer money to, say, your children, your grandchildren, or maybe organizations and charities that you care about. But we can look at the tax consequences and make some changes in planning accordingly. Now, if done correctly, maybe we just need a simple will. Or maybe we need more complexity with respect to your overall plan and putting into place some trusts. Now, those trusts may be something that's very simple or it may be very complex. And there's many different roads that we can go down here. But we also take a look at healthcare directives, powers of attorney, and maybe we need to have some transfer on death type of things structured onto your accounts as well. Or when we take a look at the houses you own, maybe we need some deeds that have been updated so that they're either in a trust or have a transfer on death deed associated with them. Now, all of this comes back down to making sure they go to the intended people at the correct time. And that's why we always have a beneficiary review as well. You see, wealth transfer is not just a one and done type of an element. It is a very ongoing element to make sure that you always have your wishes taken care of. And that leads us to wealth protection. Now, again, at the heart of wealth protection, it really is just saying that we want to make sure that the money and the wealth that you've accumulated all of these years is not unjustly taken. So this comes back down to property casualty insurance. Just making sure we have the correct coverages there, like umbrella policies. Then it comes back down to the property you own. So whether it is personal property, whether it's the jewelry, the watches, the really nice gold collection that you have. All of that is very valuable, and we want to make sure it's protected correctly. But that's not all. It also comes back down to the life insurances, the ways that we can be protecting against your passing, or how we can be protecting against you living. So what does that look like with respect to income planning that we would be doing? Or what does that look like for long-term care planning? Now, all of those are elements that come into play here. And when done correctly, we can start to really remove all of the risks associated here, and we can really start to put protection in place so that you know that no matter what, you will be taken care of, especially if you are going to be living a long time. But also if you have some health issues with respect to health insurance as well. Now, those are all the details that come into place with the wealth protection. And again, it comes back down to if we can make sure that this element is taken care of, then it really sets us up well for growing your investments and also for being able to transfer them to the intended people and charities when you want to do that. And that leads us to our last element, charitable planning. Now, charitable planning is really a combination of a lot of the things that we've been talking about today. So you may want to be charitably minded, and that's fantastic. But what are the best ways and structures to do that? Well, sometimes it's just giving cash outright. Other times, we can be giving it out of your retirement accounts, and we can also be giving it from trust accounts as well. So there's not a one-size-fits-all answer here, but really it comes back down to how much do you want to transfer? Where is the wealth at today that you have, and the best structures in order to do that so we can maximize your benefit and minimize the amount of assets we need to make your charitable desires happen. The last element of the Lions Guidebook that we go through then comes back down to the ways that we work together with the relationship. Now, this is not only the relationship that we have together, this is also the relationship with us here at Lions Wealth and all of the other people that speak into your financial life. So if done correctly, then now what we can say is that we can be making sure that every single person, including you, is on the correct page to make sure that we're growing the wealth correctly in the ways that you want to be doing that. So remember, it always comes back down to you and what you want, and then we make sure that everyone is on the same page. That's the relationship management piece. Because you've made it this far in the video, I want to celebrate you. You see, it's not enough just to learn about the different elements that goes into the Lions Guidebook. I want you to experience it as well. That is why below this video I've created a link for a special one-on-one consultation. Now this is where we are going to have that initial discovery meeting to take a look at where you're at today and where you want to go in the future. Now after that, we're going to help put together that Lions Guidebook, and we're going to go through the different elements and find any gaps that exist as part of your overall plan. And when we do that, you can rest assured that we're going to help improve your overall wealth plan today, tomorrow, and in the future. There's a lot of different videos that we have here at Lions Wealth Management, and I've hand selected this one just for you.